Hey guys, and welcome back to Overwatch Central. Today we're bringing you a little bit of a different video, I guess. We don't normally do this regularly or anything, but I kind of wanted to make a bit of a sort of beta update, like what we kind of think of the beta. I call it beta feedback and popular topics to sort of go along the similar lines of the developer vlogs that we've been seeing from Jeff Kaplan and Blizzard. So we've written down a few things that we kind of wanted to discuss and bring up and just talk about. It's features that we kind of want to see added, but it's also some minor adjustments and all that stuff. And some of those things, some of the things in here have actually already kind of happened or are starting to happen. So it's definitely looking good in terms of development, in my opinion, and I think the game's moving in the right sort of direction. But anyway, let's get right sort of into it. First on the list, Ryan.
Yep, so first on the list is a matchmaking playlist. Basically, when there's more maps that come out for sort of payloads or capture points or control, you should be able to pick what sort of games you want to play. For example, if you want to play just control with 5 or 6 different maps maybe, then you could just select that and you'd be cycled through all of the different maps. Quick play should still be a thing with a mix match of all the different game modes and maps. Second thing we've seen suggested on the subreddit, basically when you're waiting in skirmish for a game to start, you should be able to go into your loot box openings and be able to open up boxes mid-skirmish, or just being able to back out to the main menu while still staying in the party and still being queued. When you found a proper game, you were taken to the loaded screen for the map, but you were told beforehand, game starting in 3, 2, 1, so you can get everything sorted instead of just being quickly thrown into the match without any sort of notification. As far as hero balancing changes go, both of these heroes have recently been changed, but we're going to go over what we thought beforehand anyway. The first one would be JUNKRAT with his high damage output and splash damage. It means that his ultimate charges incredibly quickly. We both feel when we play JUNKRAT we get our ultimate too often as JUNKRAT compared to other heroes, so maybe increasing the amount of damage that needs to be done before it's charged.
JUNKRAT's a really good example, because you do get the Riptire very often, and now that they've changed some stuff around the Riptire and it's, I'd say overall just buffed, even though you can take it out without it actually exploding, I'd still say that it's a buff to the Riptire and you still get it just as often. So I was really, when I started to read the patch notes, I really expected them to lower the rate at which your ultimate charges as JUNKRAT, but they didn't do that and they still kind of buffed the Riptire, so feel like there should be a trade-off there, and right now it's not a lot, so JUNKRAT is very strong at the moment, especially with him killing Lucio quicker along with a lot of other heroes that can kill Lucio quicker. That means that the other team won't have as much sustain to work with and so on. But the other thing, another hero that I wanted to bring up in this little list was actually GENJI, and they made changes to him as well, obviously. They brought down his health from 200 to 150 like we talked about in yesterday's video, but I feel like that's not only where the problem sort of lies. We sort of talk a lot about hero balancing and all that sort of stuff when we are playing the game, and something that most of the people that we play with and ourselves can sort of agree on is that the shurikens damage, there's no fall off on them, so he can shoot them from extremely far away and basically snipe people with them. And it feels a bit odd to have someone throw shurikens from you on the other side of the map and there's no damage fall off at all, and they're very spammable as well, so I feel like something should maybe be tweaked there. But yeah, enough about hero balancing changes. Let's hop on to the next thing on our list, which is stats. Stats is an interesting thing right now in Overwatch, because I feel like the stats in the game right now, it's nice that they are there and started to be worked on, but I don't feel like they're as useful as I'd like them to be. And obviously a sort of ranked mode and all that will help with determining skill and knowing how good you are at the game, but I feel like the win-loss ratio, for example, is a bit skewed, and the hero you finish the game with is actually the hero that takes the win or loss, meaning that if you played Symmetra 99% of a match but switch to Winston right at the end, and your Winston record would then get that loss rather than the Symmetra record. And that's a bit weird to me. I don't think it should be like that. I feel like Overwatch is a lot more than just winning or losing a game with the hero you have right at the end. I still feel like the stats right now is like they're there and you can see which heroes you played a lot and all that, but it's very, very difficult to decipher them properly and know actually what, see what you can sort of take away from your gameplay experience. And yeah, I don't look at my JUNKRAT profile, for example, and go, okay, I have a high win rate with JUNKRAT, so I must be playing him very well. I kind of feel like, well, maybe the hero's like just a lot stronger compared to others, and that's because I can't see other people's JUNKRAT win rates. If I could see a global JUNKRAT win rate, I'd know how well people could play him, or if he's maybe he has a negative win rate, like maybe it's under 50%. That would mean that I play a good JUNKRAT. But yeah, like I said, matchmaking is very much a part of all this with stats, and that's the next point on the list that you can kick off with, Ryan.
When we play the game as a group in Overwatch, it varies from maybe playing with me and Miska on our own, for example, to playing with a full team. And we'd like ranked and matchmaking to follow on with that, because I feel that's the way that Overwatch is going to be played more so than anything. For the 2 ranked modes, we would probably say there would be a team ranked mode, which would be a full pre-made of 6, with maybe a team name system, just to make it a bit more official, and I think it helps with those that are in the mindset that want to maybe play Overwatch professionally, and it sort of gives them that environment, and it helps with bringing new grassroots esports team into the fold, as opposed to having this massive gulf between those that play in the ranked games and maybe rank 1 to those that are actually competing in big tournaments. So long as there's a way to transition from playing rank 1 to competitive actual tournaments, then that's very good for the game, because it instills new life into it. For teams that aren't a pre-made of 6 or 5, for example, there would be normal ranked, which would be with parties being matched up against other parties of similar size. For example, if you're in a party of 3, you would be up against a party of 3, maybe the other 3 in your team are a party of 3 as well. Or for example, if you are in a group of 4, the extra 2 people in your team would be a party, and the other team would be a mirror match as far as party size goes. This is mainly for people that want a form of progression in the game, that don't want to play solo queue or quick play. They want to have a bit more of a serious game type. They want to play professionally, but they don't necessarily want to put themselves up against a full team of 6 that are very highly coordinated. Last but not least would be solo queue. We've seen a lot of people talk about this already. It's just basically you queue on your own, everybody else in your team and against you will be queued in on their own. The main issue with all of these team and matchmaking setups is how long they will be waiting for. So long as there are a high demand for all 3 of these game modes, then I can imagine it would be good for Blizzard to implement them, especially something like solo queue. Next up, we want to talk a little bit about MMR and how it should be implemented, especially with hero switching and stuff involved.
Right, so MMR is a bit tricky. We've already talked a little bit about the whole win-loss thing, where if you have a hero right at the end of the game, that hero is the one that takes the win or loss. So win-loss rate is obviously skewed, and Jeff Kaplan talked in his latest devlog about this whole issue with people playing different heroes and the whole hero switching thing coming into sort of being a factor in matchmaking and everything like that, really, when you're just trying to judge someone's skill level, pretty much. So for example, in solo queue, you don't want to come into a solo queue with someone that has a really high time played on one and the same hero, but not really much in some of the others, because that means that they are very sort of limited with their picks and their skill level in that sense. So my sort of idea around this is that sure, versatility should be rewarded a little bit here, but maybe not in a ranked mode for a team, but at least in a solo queue. So in a solo queue, if you played maybe 5 heroes and you have played them pretty much equally as much and they're all in your top 5 most played heroes, and you have a decent win rate on all of them, that should mean a fairly high MMR, right? Because you obviously have good game knowledge and you're versatile with your picks, which are both very sort of, attractive skills in a solo queue. But if you're playing a team ranked, then maybe the MMR should work a bit differently and obviously be based on that same factor, but maybe also consider that how many games you played with your team and so on. So you have placement games with the team to see what the team's initial MMR is. Then mixing those together should give you a pretty fair match. And just to quickly round this off, I just wanted to mention the whole thing with playing a hero for a certain duration of a game. So let's say, for example, you have a game on Temple of Anubis that you're attacking and you're playing 2 heroes. First, you're playing a Soldier 7/6 and then you're playing Reinhardt. Again, completely hypothetical here. And you play 50% of the match with both of these heroes and you win the game. Now this shouldn't mean that the hero that you played last should get that win, because obviously both kind of contributed towards the win, I'd say. So both of these heroes should get half a win on their record. Now obviously all this we've talked about is, you know, there's a lot to do and a lot for Blizzard to work on and think about, and we don't just expect it to fix itself and happen overnight, but I really think that things like matchmaking and ranked is something that they need to nail, and I'd love to see at launch. It would be kind of almost a bit of a letdown if it wasn't there.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype surrounding Overwatch, and we basically don't want that to disappear or dry out because there isn't any form of actual progression in the game at launch. So long as it's close, it doesn't necessarily need to be out for launch, but maybe a month following might be good, just so long as people can keep interested in the game, and so long as there's still stuff coming out on a regular basis, because there are plenty of good games coming out at the moment. So I feel it's important for Overwatch to remain consistent as much as they can, and they may have a lifespan as good as World of Warcraft back in the Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King eras. We hope so, and we know that Overwatch is a good game. As we've seen so far, Jeff Kaplan and everyone have done an amazing job with listening to the community and dealing with any huge problems. We hope that you agree with some of the things we brought up in this video. If you feel like there's something that we've left out that you want us to discuss a bit more, put them in the comments below. Like this video if you want to see more videos that are a bit more sort of chill and just discussing the game at length. And until next time, take care, and we will see you then.